I want to talk about Elon Musk for a second
Yeah,
because like what
always
a
happy to do that.
what a weird fucking guy.
Yeah.
Um, when you think about his approach to having children, so
Yes.
something like 14 kids that we know of, and 12 out of those 14 were assigned male at birth. I mean,
Yeah.
what's all that about?
IVF.
Yeah, but why? Why does he
Sex
want?
selection.
Yeah, why does he want so many male children?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, he has a very tortured relationship to masculine authority, that was inculcated in him early through his extremely to tempestuous relationship to his father, Errol, who, among other things, has had children with his former stepdaughter, Errol. And when asked about that in a recent interview, when asked what it was like to have been a stepfather to someone who he then had children with, he assured the interviewer that she had had many stepfathers after that. So, I mean, when you're raised with that as a male archetype, I think it was both something he was rightfully repelled by and didn't speak to his father for a long time and tried to keep his distance. But then it's, one can leave, but can you ever leave these kind of impressions, unfortunately? And he seems to have reverted back to the mean of a lot of like South African white border
Mm.
siege mentality that brings with it this idea of being a minority population that needs to expand the patriarchal clan as quickly and as, as prodigiously as possible to have your own private army against the incoming hordes.
What does Trump get from him?
He gets a lot. Are you kidding? He's the richest man in the world. I mean, what don't you get from the richest man in the world? I think he got a lot of credibility for a certain class of voter. I actually wouldn't understate the achievements that Musk has pulled off, mainstreaming the consumer electric vehicle, becoming the first commercial spaceflight and launch provider, basically just kicking Boeing and NASA right out of the building and becoming the person who does things like fill the night sky with 50% of the satellites up there to provide an alternative form of internet provision in a world where grids are ever less dependable. The Powerwall system of energy storage in places with unreliable electrical grids like Puerto Rico or Western Australia is a lifeline actually for people. So he's done an extraordinary amount of arguably socially productive things. Unfortunately, he's burnt all of that capital symbolically and morally by trying to stoke the fires of some of the most divisive and, hateful politics that exist in the world. And now he's become the megaphone for the far right
Was it a
worldwide.
Nazi salute that he did at the inauguration?
I haven't decided yet. I mean, on the one hand, like when Bannon did it himself at CPAC a couple of days later, then it was the meta Nazi salute, right? So then it was clearly his intention to mimic a Nazi salute and then bait the left and see how they would respond. Whether or not Musk was out to do that, I think it's hard to say but I think that he has moments where he tries to convince himself that he's a naughty troll and he thinks that will, please some important people in his life, I suppose. And so it must have been a moment like that where he thought that he'd be able to, please the cool kids somehow, which in his mind, I guess, are the neo-Nazis. And ironically, even they turned against him. So if I didn't
Over
check
the
myself,
H1B thing.
no, like if you go on 8chan or something, apparently after the inauguration, people were like, he's not even a real Nazi.
Don't wear Thrasher if you don't skate, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, it's like a Mobius strip of hermeneutic interpretation that I try to stay out of a bit myself. But more interesting, I think, is the political economy of someone like Musk and the way that it's trying to, turn the entire US economy towards things like expanding the military state, maxing out extraction to feed the mouth of Grok and his AI systems, and, shred all regulations towards what he sees as like the multiplanetary civilization, having only his cars on the road. I mean, this is all something that to me is much more consequential than like the semiotics of his posting behavior.
Or like the multi-planetary civilization where like one of his awful sons is in charge of like each solar system or something. It's like
I get the idea,
Maps
yeah.
in space. Ugh.